Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tiger Tank 1-2, having call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks. This time around, we are not on the World of Tanks game client, but we're taking a look at the object 259A, because I thought it's quite difficult to make videos right now because I'm spending time with my family. Don't really have a lot of time to play any kind of games, but I still want to make videos on the World Tanks topic. So I thought, why not just cover the object 259A? I think a lot of you guys probably have already looked into it by other content creators, but I just wanted to give you like my spin on it and talk about probably one of the biggest problems we have in World of Tanks, which has been persistent for more than 4 years ever, or no, more than 5 or even 6 years, because the last time or the very first time they introduced something that was ridiculously overpowered, I think, was the Object 252U Defender. That tank first came into the game in the year 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and today we have the Object 259A. Before we go into the characteristics or the statistics, let us take a look at the vehicle in its form, in its HD model, because there are several things to note right here, and several things you will notice once you look at it a bit closely. On the first picture that we have, it has a turret on top, which looks kind of familiar, looks like a Object 260 turret. The side of the vehicle, the hull, has the side skirts with the spaced armor, which we have known and loved with the Russian tanks. And it also seems to have like a V-shaped design. We're going to talk about that just a bit more afterwards, because there's another picture that shows it off quite nicely. From these pictures from the front, if you look from the top onto the tank, you'll notice that the vehicle looks extremely much like Object 260. The turret looks like Object 260. The hull looks like Object 260, kind of spliced with maybe a IS-7. And then you have several things that you notice once you go down to the hull. So let me find a picture of the vehicle from the front, and let's take a look at the vehicle from up close. So what you can see right here is that the vehicle, the hull, is actually this part right here, this entire part. The tracks seem not to be really connected to the hull. So if you look closely down here, you can see it's a V-shaped hull like the Object 257, which is the Soviet Tier 9 heavy tank. And it also kind of shows that like the armor plates are not really aligned, like the tracks and the track, the part of the track which is connected to the hull, not even sure, the connectors, whatever it's called. It seems like it's a separate part of the vehicle's hull, so that they are not aligned. So it seems to me, if you look from the side, there are like spots where you can see through the track and you can see through the vehicle somehow. Like, it looks really weird down there. Looks like it's a V-shaped tank design, and I really don't like that. I'm not a big fan of the V-shaped vehicles because they are extremely powerful, or they are really annoying to shoot at, and I think they don't really generate any kind of additional worth to the game. Yeah, they bring nothing to the table. At least this tank at the front, it seems to have, to me at least, it has like a weak spot, which is supposed to be the cupola, which is a lot bigger than other Soviet tanks have. But I have the feeling it's going to be just as strong as the STA or ST1 weak spot, which still means you have to fire gold. But let's take a look at the characteristics before we jump into any kind of conclusion. The Object 259A is a Tier 8 Soviet heavy tank, a premium one at that. That's another one that we really needed at this time. And it is the first tank, I think, that introduces 420 alpha damage into Tier 8 heavy tanks. I'm not even sure if it's maybe for Tier 8 altogether. Usually it's 440 or 390, and I think it's a 122mm gun, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not really sure, so I'm just gonna put it out. So take everything with a grain of salt. All of these things can still change. It has 233mm of penetration with APCR shells as standard shells, 285 with heat shells as premium shells, and 61 with high explosive. But it's a very nice combination. If you have ever played the Object 260 or the IS-5, you'll know that having like the APCR and heat combination is really great. The APCR shell flies at a velocity of 1,400 meters per second, which is awesome. So yeah, pen-wise, this tank is really set. It's really on the level of a tier 9. Reload time is not very good. Aim time is also not very good. Dispersion is also not very good. Gun depression is not very good. But once we move on over to mobility, we can see that it's really, really fast for a heavy tank. It's on the same path as the IS-7 and the Object 260. Does not have the power to weight ratio though to maintain the 60 or get to the 60 very quickly, but still it has 60 kilometers per hour top speed, which is a big issue for me. Hull traverse, turret traverse, not very good for a heavy tank. I think it's about average. Survivability wise, this tank it doesn't really have a lot of HP. Other heavies at tier 8 have a lot more. Hull armor though, this is where it kind of gets a bit messy once more. 110 at the front, 100 on the side, 90 on the rear, 260 on the turret front, 155 on the side, 100 on the rear. And basically, this tank is going to be armored like some tier 9 and 10 Soviet heavy tanks. With the angles that we have on the vehicle at the front, at the side, it's going to have a lot of armor, and I can already tell you that's going to be really annoying to shoot at this guy, because especially if it's a V-shaped hull, I have the feeling that the tracks do not really... if you shoot the tracks, you track the vehicle, doesn't seem to really do anything if it's a V-shaped hull, because they are not really connected. But if you look at the picture right here, you can see that this is the V-shaped hull right there at the front, and these are like the connectors which connect the tracks to the vehicle. Looks like the front part of the track is something you can actually shoot right into the vehicle, and maybe the rear, but the middle part looks like that they are not really connected to the hull, so we have to look into that a bit more, especially when the tank is kind of coming around. Then turret, view range 380 meters. That is really good for a tier 8 Soviet heavy tank especially. So I really don't like that either. Should be way below, should be 360 meters max. Just like the IS-6 and the IS-5. But yeah, generally speaking, this tank, the gun handling stats, everything looks pretty atrocious. The pen looks great. The damage looks great. The mobility looks great. But the power to weight ratio doesn't look very good. The hull traverse, yeah, it's about average. But still, having the ability to have 60 kilometers per hour top speed makes this basically an Object 252U that manages to just flank you around with about 45 kilometers per hour top speed still. So yeah, I'm not really a big fan. I don't really see why we needed another tier 8 premium heavy tank in the game. Do not really see the reason there. And once more, I don't even know what to say anymore. But it's kind of weird, and I do not really want to support this. So either way, I'm not going to buy it, but what I really want to do is I want to figure out how to get this vehicle destroyed as easily as possible when you're playing the game, because I will not want to buy it, but people will buy it, and you'll have to deal with it when it comes out, because basically it's Object 260 at tier 8 with a couple of setbacks in terms of probably armor layout and gun characteristics. But other than that, basically it reminds me very much of Object 260 at tier 8. So yeah, I just wanted to take a look at the vehicle from the front. There's another picture, so I'm on the website right here, because it's really important that we can get a little bit of information, a bit of an idea what the tank is all about. And what you can see right here is the V-shaped hull, which is really weird. It's like it has angles to the angles. So like the lower part right here where this is like the lower plate, right? It's like the Object 257, the tier 9 Soviet heavy tank. And then you have the hull right here. So yeah, it's a V-shaped design. And it looks like it goes all the way to the back of the tank. So you can't even shoot below here between the tracks, because it's a V-shaped hull. That means you will not be able to penetrate, or, well, you need to have enough pen because it's angled as well. So you need to shoot the upper plates right here on the side which have spaced armor, which is also not very nice. Some shots will be balanced, and generally speaking, this is a really, really shitty design to engage with, especially because we don't really see it very well down here. You can see how the tracks are connected to the hull, but since this is a V-shaped design, if you shoot up here, it seems to be quite difficult to be able to go right through. But we have to see the tank in action, because from the rear, it might just look like any other IS-6 or any kind of IS-3, 4, 5 tank. But from the front, you can see that it has a really weird kind of design. I'm not sure, because right here, these are the connectors between the tracks and the hull. If you shoot those, do you track the vehicle and do you do damage? That is what I'm really curious about. Oh, right here you can see it. So you have the lower plate. If you look at it from the top, it looks really weird. The lower plate from below, and you can see that the lower plate is angled even right here and here, and you have the track. So I'm not sure if all of these things right here, the connectors, are they part of the hull or are they not? Like, are they just spaced nothing? Because I think you should be able to do damage right here. Like, just shoot here instead of here, because this is angled and this is not. It's like a bit rounded. But if you shoot here and you do damage, well, then I think it's fine. But if it's not like that, you can just only shoot it right here and damage it here, which I probably guess is going to be the case. Then it's going to be a really, really annoying piece of garbage, because there are so many like angles and shapes that kind of pull your attention away from the weak spot, that you really have to think where you want to shoot. And I think that's how this tank is going to be quite effective, because they are going to try and see that you kind of mix it up. So we have to go with the experience right there, and we have to kind of figure out how to take out this vehicle when it comes out. So this is going to be a very high priority for me, to figure out how to take out the Object 259A, 59A, if it comes out. And hopefully it's not going to be as bad as some other tanks, but I think it's going to be quite bad looking from the stats alone. So I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, have a good one. Peace out.